Hello class, Mr. Garino here. In this video I'm going to illustrate how to make a character animation using a sprite sheet rather than doing your own artwork. In a previous animation I showed people how to make a pretty cool animation using their own artwork because I have a lot of students who are artistic and wanted to draw characters on their own, characters from video games or whatever they were liking or wanting to draw, and then how to animate it. This process is going to be very similar, except for people like myself who can't draw anything to save their lives. We have to go and steal artwork from the internet. Steal is a harsh word. People have stuff out there that you can use and they don't really care if you use it. But it just sounds funny to say we're stealing the artwork. Anyway, here's something called a sprite sheet. Okay, it's got all the pieces you need to animate a dragon. Here's something called, and I just found searching, HD Metal Man. It's got all the pieces to animate a Metal Man. Now you can bring it into Flash and you can, using the select tool, break these pieces apart one by one, make them all symbols, and then start doing your animation. But that actually takes some work. There's a program you can use to do that for you, and it's free, so we don't have to steal it. To find the dragon pieces or any other type of pieces that you want, it's probably best to search whatever your topic is and then just say pieces, sprite sheet, or something to that, in that order, that liking, similar to that. So when I did dragon pieces sprite sheet, what I came up with, I got a hit over here, bone-based Unity to the animation. Unity is a game development language or programming language for making video games, and they often start with sprite sheets because, let me show you this other picture. This is the Unity interface where they put everything together and then they animate it and move it around and control it and make a video game where this is one of the characters in the video game. But instead of making a video game, we're going to make an animation with it. Okay, so I did a search, found this, opened it up, went down, saw what was it, and I saw, oh, here's a picture right here. Here's some other sprite sheet for doing video games, which I'll talk about in a later video of how to take something that's really a video game and just make it an animation so it kind of looks like someone's playing a video game, but really it's just an animation playing. But anyway, back to this. So it's just a picture, so you just right click, save image as, save it to your folder. I've already done that. And then the free program for breaking this apart into each individual piece, because right now it's just one picture and you need them to be all individual pieces. That takes a lot of time in Flash to do that, or in Photoshop to do that. So there's a free program that does it all for you, and it's on GitHub, which is an open source place for developers that they put their free stuff there. So all you have to do is come to github.com and search for Alfred sprite sheet unpacker. So Alfred, not Alfred, Alfred sprite sheet unpacker. And I can't find it. Let me just do Alfred. Maybe I got too fancy. There we go. Alfred sprite. That's what I said, Alfred. I guess I didn't put the dashes in. Anyway, click that. Go to releases. And here's the one you want. It's a zipped file folder. So if you've been working with animations, you know I've given you zipped file folders. It's a way to transport stuff around the internet, and here you go. I wasn't lying, and wasn't making it up. So you want this program, you have to download the zipped file folder. So you right click, save link as, save it to your folder. I've already done it. I saved it to my downloads folder, but you should save it to your folder. After you save it, of course, click save, but as I said, I already did it. Go to your folder, however you like to get there. I got this little shortcut I use all the time called TS. Of course, you have to, don't use the zipped file folder. You right click, extract all. I like to uncheck this because right after it's done extracting, I'm going to delete the one with the zipper. So I delete that, and then I think I would put it in the folder where you're doing your animation, just for convenience. It's just some small files, and the asu.exe makes it run. I don't even know what this folder is. It probably works alongside the other stuff. Not even sure myself. Anyway, so copy this whole folder, ASU19, and put it in your folder with your character animation, which I've already done. So copy, paste it, or cut and paste it. Okay, and then all you do is double click this, double click this ASU.exe. This thing opens up. One thing I suggest you do, because if you don't, it tries to save it inside this folder right here with all the other files that make it work. Go to options and say, hey, when I go to export, prompt me to where I want to put it so that you can select the folder where you want it to go. Everything else I've left the default. I haven't changed. Okay, so just say update and close. And then what you need to do is drag in your file. I'm going to go back to my drag in pieces. Drag that in over here, say select all, and then say export. And that's when it comes up with the dialog box, because we've told it to ask us where to export it. So rather than putting it in the file with the program, I'm going to put it in my character animation via sprite sheet parts folder. Click OK, and you'll see them all appear here in a second. And here they all are. So if I go double click on this number 10, that was that piece of the ball. I can close this out now. Here's the dragon. Let's do dragon pieces. Okay, so this is all one piece. But now that I've broken them apart, here's all the individual pieces. So that program works really, really well. Okay, and then there's it all together. Okay, so now what you want to do is, I can close out my Chrome browser. I'm going to go to Flash. I'm going to start a new ActionScript 3.0 file, and I'm going to import to the library all those pieces from 10 down to 0. This was the finished dragon, this was the pieces. And of course, since Flash knows that usually PNG files want to be animated, it created graphic symbols out of all those for you, which is what you want, graphic symbols. So now we can just drag them on the screen and do our animation. So here's the body, and of course you want them on different layers. So let's make a bunch of layers. So I drag the body on, layer 1, go to layer 2. I don't know what this black dot is for. Actually, I kind of think I do, but I don't want to say right now. The head, you know what I'm going to do, because I'm so bad with art, I don't even know what this thing is supposed to look like when I'm done, because I can't visualize it in my head, which is probably why I'm not good with art. So I'm going to put this over here so I know what to put where. So I have the body, the head just sits on top of it. Maybe my stage isn't big enough. Could change that later. Here we have, oh, okay, the unpacker didn't do such a good job with this. It didn't break them apart, probably because these things were too close. So let's go to this thing. That's the hand. That's a leg. Oh, I did a bad thing. I'm putting them all on the same layer. Very common mistake. Let's go back. Click this layer first. Put the hand. Click this layer. Put the foot. Or the leg. This layer. I have no clue what that is. Oh, that's part of the arm. Good. So it did break apart one of the arms. And the other leg. Now if you see, this and this are basically the same. Did I put that leg on the same layer? No. I put the arm and the leg on the same layer. Okay, so this, we just cut it and then click the other layer, paste it. You could say paste in place, or you can just paste it and move it. Not that big a deal. Okay, so all different layers. And now another layer. Drag this on. Let's see, is it just like that? It's a little shorter. I guess over here we have a shorter one and a longer one. And then this thing goes on the tail. And then make another layer. We probably have the tail, right? Yep. So there's our pieces. So what's the one thing that didn't work in that texture unpacker? We could probably go back and do that again. Oops. Or we could take this piece, make another layer, and this is how you do it manually without using that Alfred program. Drag it on the screen. Okay, maybe zoom in a little bit. Okay, now while that's selected, we need to do this modify, break apart. So now they're individual pieces. And then using our select tool, we can do this. And say copy, insert new symbol, number 12. So we got this piece by itself now as symbol number 12. And then we can go and use our, so this again, this is how you do it manually. So you can see how much time that program saved you. You didn't have to do this on every piece, but because it didn't do these pieces right. Copy, insert new symbol. So now we got a symbol 13, symbol 12, and obviously the last one. I guess I really don't have to do this because obviously you guys are realizing what you need to do. I just did Control V that time. Okay, so now if we zoom back out, we're gonna get rid of all this, and then symbol we already got that, we already have that, we don't have this. So symbol 12 on layer 10, go to layer 11, bring on layer 13 or symbol 13, and then layer 12 we got symbol 14. So we were able to get the other three pieces we needed, but we had to do it manually. So that Alfred unpacker really helps a lot. It doesn't do it perfectly, then you do a little manual work. So now this thing goes like over here. This one, let's go to our free transform tool. Go somewhere over here. And I'm not trying to make it too fancy because I just want to get done with doing this because I don't want it to take too long. But if you notice something I want to show you here, let me zoom in. And when you zoom in, of course, maybe the thing doesn't look so good. Notice how this has like a circular end to it and this has a circular end. The reason why they do that is if you're going to animate this thing and it's going to rotate, wait a second, sorry, the transformation point needs to be over here. And if it's going to rotate like this, okay, it's like two circles rotating on each other. Okay, if there wasn't a whole circle here, if there was just a straight line on this back piece, then over here as it rotated down you'd see a big gap. It'd be like the thing's elbow just you know, what do we call it, dislocated. Okay, so that's why they do that. So that's why the pieces tend to have round endings to them. So one circle can overlap the other and rotate upon it each other. Okay, so then I think this hand goes up here. This hand's going to go down there after this thing obviously this should be on the top layer, so it comes in the front. Okay, so there you have your pieces. So how would you animate this? Now me, actually, I think the arms I would do kind of separately. Um, I guess you could do it all together in one shot, but the arms have three pieces to them, so sometimes it's better to do that separately. So let's actually get rid of these arms. Okay, so maybe on this thing we'll just make the legs swivel back and forth, and maybe the tail go up and down, but the arm's going to have a little bit more motion to them, so we're going to do them separately. So we're going to insert a new symbol. We'll call it, I don't know, RH for right arm. And then if we can find like this is, and we'll need some extra layers. This is part of the right arm. That's not the right arm. That's not the right arm. That's part of the left arm. That's all the pieces together. That's, I can't really tell. I think that's part of the right arm. I think that's part of the left arm. And then this. Okay, so it's going to be this piece over here, this piece over here, oh boy, I hate when it gets jumpy like that. Maybe it's supposed to go around like this. I don't really know. Okay, and let's see. Go back to scene 1. Oops. Sorry. Yeah, the right hand symbol. And these things should be on their own layers. So let's cut that with Control X. Go to this one. Paste in place. And then this other one, if I can get there. Oh my god. Let's zoom in. Click on this one. So these two are on the same layer. So I'm going to cut this, go to this layer, say edit, paste in place. So now I got all three of them on separate layers. And then a tool that I used in the other one called the bone tool, we can probably use here to make an animation. But these things are pretty small, but we'll give it a try. So if I click on my bone tool, and the other thing we did is we drew something out here as a little thing to help the monkey's hand in my previous video swing back and forth a little better, but this one I don't think is going to need to swing back and forth because it's kind of facing sideways. So I'm going to click on my bone tool, and starting from the shoulder, go to the elbow, and then from the elbow to the wrist, and then that's it. Okay, so these layers will become blank now, and it's called armature 2. So I'm just going to do this. I'm going to go out to frame 15, press F5. Notice it's green. At frame 1, I'm going to have this thing be up here like this. And then at frame 15, I want it to be in the same position. So without moving it, I'm just going to right click and say insert pose. So it's in the same pose. And then at frame 7, 8 should be in the middle of 15, right? Yeah. And then at 15, I'm sorry, at 8, I'm going to click here and drag this down a little bit so it looks like he's clawing someone. Okay, so now that's a built-in animation. Okay, so go back to scene 1. So my right-handed symbol has that built-in animation. Okay, right here. So now I'm going to drag the right hand on and put it over here. Now, if I play this, well, I can't. Oops. Sorry. If I click on this play, I can't actually play it. I don't have any frames. So really, these have to go out to at least frame 15. And really, that'd be a kind of short animation. At 24 frames per second, it's going to be like half a second. So really, we can go out further. Let's go out to 120. Press F5. If I go back, this is on layer 10. So you can see my built-in animation. Okay, I'm not going to do the other arm because I don't want to waste time. But because that had 3 pieces, I did it separately. But the legs, maybe we could just do right here. So let me maximize this first. So I want the legs to, oops, clicked as I was moving the mouse. I want the legs to swirl up and down as he claws. Maybe the tail moves a little, and then I'm going to have him walk across the screen. And you know what? Maybe I'll make the stage a little bigger. Make this 750. Make it 1,000. Oops. Make it 1,000. And make this 600. So I'm going to take this whole thing, put it all over here. Okay, so my animation right now does just this. So from here to, well, let's go to frame 15 again. So my leg is on layer 4. So I'm actually going to delete these frames or remove frames. Okay, so my leg from 1 to 15, oops, 16. I'm just trying to sync it up with the hand. So from 1 to 15, I want my leg to swirl. And then I'm just going to repeat it over and over and over again. This is one way to do it. So let's create a tween here. Okay, so I have frame 1. And this is the transformation point. Usually it's in the center. I think I had already moved it. And that's going to look dumb when you rotate it. So once you get your leg where you want it, make sure you put your rotation point basically where the joint of the body part would be. Okay, so maybe I'm going to put this like this at the first frame. And remember, you want it to end up at the same part. So if I move my playhead to the end of my little segment and either move this just a little bit or right click and say insert a keyframe. Okay, so it doesn't do anything, or rather wherever it starts is where it's going to end. And then in the middle at frame 8, that's where we rotate this up. Okay, so my animation now looks like this. So he's stepping up, and as he steps down, his claw goes up. As he steps forward, the claw goes down. Don't know if that makes sense, but you guys make yours the way you want. Okay? And then what I can do is just select this, say copy frames, paste, paste, it's one way to do it. Okay, I'm not going to bother to do the other legs and the tail. You get the idea. So you do all that. Once you're done, select all your frames of all your animation that you did. So go like this. And this I showed in a previous video with embedding an animation. So here you have a tween and you have an armature. But again, you select all the frames, copy them, insert, new symbol, a graphic symbol. Let's just call it dragon. Okay, right click over here, paste frames, go back to scene 1. Okay, we don't need this anymore, but I don't want to get rid of it and leave it there just as an example. So now I can take on some other layer, take dragon, drag it on over here. Okay, so now he does the same thing the other guy does, but because it's built into him, I can right click over here, say create motion tween, and have him go off the stage, right? So he's going to walk off the stage, and then over here, if I want, I can modify my symbol, transform, and I always get this wrong. Is it flip vertical or horizontal? I got it right, horizontal. And then come over here and move him back. So he's going to fight his brother, because they're always fighting anyway. Okay, so if I do file, save as, and this is my character animation via sprite sheet, and we'll call it dragon, or I'm going to call it dragon. So now if I play it, this is what you have. And of course he does the stupid flip on the way there, which is dumb, because that's all part of the tween. So how do you fix that? Okay, so from here to here, he's twisting, twisting, twisting. So really I just wanted him to twist after he got off the screen. So if I come back here, and, well, actually, let me go back here and say modify, transform, flip horizontal. Go over here, one frame after he passes. So one frame after he passes, and then do modify, transform, flip horizontal. I think that works. Yeah. So this tween from here to here has no rotation. The rotation occurs from this frame to that frame, and then he comes back on. So something that's easy to forget. So he walks across, and then he comes back. And you put a little background there, and you got something cool going on. And of course I have another video of how to add sound. You get some dragon music playing, some roaring going on or whatever. You got yourself a nice animation. Thank you very much.